Welcome to the Need to Know Music Show with me, Ronan McManus, here on Switchbox TV. And today I'm joined by Anna from Beams, who are a Psych-Folk band from Toronto. I have 2 studio albums and a bunch of singles, including an excellent cover of Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill. Hello, Anna. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So how have you been dealing with this last few months of this funny world we've been living in?
I've been, taking it day by day. I'm usually someone who's extremely busy. Like, I have a day job as well as being, in this main project Beams, and then a couple of other bands that also tour and record and stuff. So to be honest, I was pretty happy to have the break. Yeah, to have everything slow down a bit. And we're still doing some creative things. Like, we're still getting ready to release our 3rd full-length album. And I've actually had more time to think about how to package that and what to get together. And we've been able to do like a few socially distanced things like photo shoots and stuff like that. And I don't know.
Yeah, we've had a similar sort of. So I'm in a band myself, and we had an album ready to go, and having a bit of time actually to put a bit of thought in a bit more. Well, just having that room to kind of think about it a bit more has been. I think that's been one of the positives for me too. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious downsides are like, not being able to tour, not being able to play shows. We often play shows in the US, and obviously that's not on the table right now. And there's a couple of people we want to work with down there that we're going to have to just postpone for, however long. Some of my family's down there too, so that's a bit of a bummer, but.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what Beams plans were ruined by COVID-19.
Not too many. I mean, we were hoping to have released the album by now and maybe be doing some touring, but we didn't have anything super, it was a bit of a gray area anyway. So yeah, aside from just general touring as usual, maybe playing some festivals. Yeah.
I mean, is that a thing that I know that the summer festival scene in the US is big. Is that do you get caught up in that normally during the summertime? Does that kind of extend up to where you are in Canada?
We don't do too many festivals. We were hoping to do more this year. I finally put a bunch of effort into applying for them this winter, and then they all got canceled anyway. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'd like to sort of talk about you, how you got started really playing music and where it all started for you. You're from Toronto, I presume. You grew up there?
I grew up in a suburb of Toronto. Yeah, it's just kind of a big suburb. There's a lot of manufacturing and stuff. There's a lot of immigration. So it was like the perfect sort of suburban sprawl background for, angsty songwriting to develop when I was a teenager.
Yeah, you play banjo now and front the band playing banjo. Was that something you always did, or did you start on the guitar and develop onto banjo? How did that come about?
I started with guitar. Yeah. I started playing guitar when I was maybe like 11. And then in high school, I met another girl who played guitar and encouraged me to, start playing rock and roll and learning power chords and stuff like that.
What sort of stuff were you listening to at that time?
Like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the White Stripes and just like very bluesy stuff.
Yeah.
But some Iron and Wine, like some folkier type stuff too.
Yeah.
So I learned how to finger pick because I liked that.
Okay.
And my friend that I met in high school actually got into old-timey music, and she got me a banjo one Christmas, even though I'd never thought about playing it before. And I just figured that I should learn how to play it because she got it, but we only knew how to play at one volume, which was 11. So I never actually ended up playing banjo with her. But yeah, I eventually got kind of bored of guitar and turned to the banjo, and that's kind of when Beams came about.
This is kind of a quite a strong sort of folk tradition across Canada. I think it's seen, you know, there's a lot of influence from Scotland. I mean, I'm of Irish descent myself, and I was in a folk rock band for 25 years. And I know there's a lot of strong influences. Is it kind of ingrained in Canadian music?
I think I noticed that people listen to folk and country music more in the countryside, and there's really only a few urban, like truly urban centers in Canada. So I think that just because so much of the population is kind of like in more woodsy and like farm sort of places,
Yeah.
um, it just ends up being what speaks to people. And for me, it was kind of like I wanted to play heavier stuff, but I only had an acoustic guitar. So I don't know.
It's quite quite eclectic lineup you have, isn't it? I mean, like the instruments in the band, mandolins are seen like the saw and so glockenspiel. I don't know if see one of the things. I mean, is that kind of something that you purposely put together, or is it kind of naturally happen?
Yeah, I never would have thought about putting that combination of things together. It more happened because uh, we had, so I put out a call because I was between bands. I put out a call on Facebook asking, you know, if anyone wanted to come over and jam. And over the course of a couple of months, people kept kind of coming. And, you know, someone would be like, oh, I want to play guitar with you. Someone would be like, oh, I want to play drums. And like, hey, this guy could play bass. And then, you know, by the time Keith showed up, I was like, I don't know what you're going to do. And he was like, don't worry about it. And he showed up with a saw. And then eventually we couldn't have saw on every song. So we incorporated the vibraphone because we had one of those too. So it's more in an effort to include everybody. Yeah.
But it really works, though. I mean, I think it doesn't seem. I mean, it doesn't sound weird. It sounds like it all really belongs together.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome. I guess that's because we belong together.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, I mean, you've got the female harmonies as well going on. You have there's another girl in the band, Heather. Is that right? Singing
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
That works so well, having the two female harmonies there.
Yeah, I'm
And
so grateful. Like she's a very strong singer and like a great wing woman, I guess.
I watched one of the videos that was on your Facebook, I think it was, and it was her in lockdown, and she was singing a cover of a song, and her voice is so sweet, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, so sweet. Yeah, on our new album, there's a song where she does her own verse as well, and it's just a really nice moment. Yeah.
yeah. But you're the sort of driving force of the band. Like, what age did you start writing songs, and what sort of what and you know, how did you find your voice?
Um, I think it was a combination of a couple of things. So my first band, we started jamming just two acoustic guitars, kind of, we didn't really sing or anything. So I started kind of writing songs there that didn't have any words. And then I became friends with a girl who was really into poetry. And she kind of introduced me to the world of stream of conscious poetry. So
Right, yeah.
I really enjoyed expressing myself that way as a teenager. And then I just took a creative writing class where I had to study a few different writers. I chose a few lyricists. I chose Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse and Sam Beam from Iron and Wine and Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes, and just compared their styles and looked at how they used hooks. And I don't know, it just, yeah, I'm still finding my voice. I felt like for the first couple of Beams albums, I really used words to dodge what I was actually feeling and just allude to it. I think with the newer stuff, I'm like evolving more to getting to the heart of things. It's kind of exciting.
Your first album just was in 2013, is that right? That was
Yeah.
Just Rivers, which had an amazing cover of Glory Box on it. I have to say that was brilliant. It worked so well. Was that something that just came out of live shows, or is it something that you did especially for the album?
I think that it was like the engineer that we were working with decided that we should probably throw a cover on there, just to have something that people who are totally new to us could relate to. And I don't know who thought of the idea of doing Glory Box. I think it was, I never would have gravitated towards it. That whole album is so cool. But I think it was one of our guitar player, Martin, holds a British passport, and he's super into all sort of British rock and music in general. And I think he just thought, but yeah, it was.
Well, it's a great cover. I mean,
Thanks.
congratulations on that. But with your own stuff that's on that, which songs for you kind of do you feel the most proud of from that album?
Let me go back. Well, um, I recently
Or
rediscovered Too Much Fun, and I was like, wow, that that's kind of a cool song. We kind of stopped playing it because it didn't really fit with anything else that we were doing. But when I listen back to it now, I'm like, that's kind of a poppy little gem. But I don't know. It's hard for me to single one out.
yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm asking for your favorite child now, aren't I? But and so you had your second album was 2018, but you did a bunch of singles in between, and we have to talk about Running Up That Hill. I mean, how did that come about? Because I mean, you got some good press with that, and it's obviously an amazing song. What was the idea behind doing that song?
We wanted to release a single, and the publicist that we hired to help us release it said that we needed more material because we only had, I think, one song, and he was like, you need to at least pair it with a B side. Like if you do a cover, that might be a good idea. So, and again, it was Martin who was like, you know what? We would do a really great version of Running Up That Hill. And I listened to it. I was like, how could I possibly play this on banjo? This is insanity. But then I kind of worked on it a bit, and I was like, okay, yeah.
So that's something that you really enjoy doing, taking songs that people maybe wouldn't expect you to do and just putting your own stamp on it.
Yeah, yeah. We've played a few weddings and stuff where we play kind of off the wall covers. Like we even covered Rage Against the Machine before, and I wouldn't say that it's the best, but it's definitely fun.
Yeah, I've done that. We've done Bullet in the Head before.
Oh, nice.
That was good. Yeah, it was kind of on our little Monday night acoustic jam we used to do on a Monday night.
Yeah,
That
it's really fun.
raises a few eyebrows. But I love mentioning the sort of two covers that you got. But obviously you're doing 99% original material.
Yeah.
So are you bringing the songs totally on your own, or or is it a band effort, or how do you approach the songwriting side of things?
Yeah, I write them by myself for sure. I like until they sound like a song, you know? Like it's a very I don't like to have anyone around when that's happening, which I guess is kind of antisocial, but even my husband who's in the band, like I can't really write when he's around. So I get it so that I can like play and sing the song, and then I present it to the band, and then we work it out, usually
so,
building up from the rhythm section.
so are you like you're going shopping because I've got to do some sick sort of songwriting, kick him out the house.
Yeah, it's more like he'll be like, I gotta go rehearse with so and so, and I'll be like, okay, cool. And then I hear the door shut, and I'm like, I grab my guitar, like go sit on my bedroom floor.
Top secret
Yeah.
stuff going on, like, in your
So
secret
weird.
lair. you pull the book and the bookcase spins round, and then there's your rehearsal room.
That would be so great. That would be so great.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. That would be
It's
good.
not that, Mike's very supportive, and it's not like he would come and be like, "What are you doing? That sounds weird." But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that. You sort of, it's, I suppose, until you're kind of developing what it is, because often I find that things come to me and I don't know what it is yet, and I need time to kind of work out where this is going, or what, do you know what I mean? Things sort of come to you, and you kind of have to sort of work out, okay, what is this exactly going to be? And
Hmm.
I think you kind of need time to meditate on that a little bit. I find anyway.
Yeah, like the focus, like even having someone present in another room is like too distracting almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got to sort of listen to yourself a bit, maybe.
yeah.
I don't know. But but do you enjoy the recording process? I mean, is that something that the studio thing is that? Do you really enjoy that? I know some people find that it's just a means to an end. Some people really get into it. Where are you on that scale?
I think it's really fun. Yeah, I really like it. Uh, I usually sing and play at the same time, so getting to focus on one at a time is nice, kind of like tweaking it to something near perfection, at least from my point of view. Getting to really focus and like clean things up and hear it as it's kind of building is really, really cool. Just those sweet moments when you're listening back and you're like, man, this rocks. This is exactly what I wanted. Or yeah.
But I mean, it could get out of hand though. The amount of instruments and the sort of eclectic nature of your band. I mean, you could end up sort of 7 years later, and you've sort of experimented so much. How do you? Is that must be a skill in itself? Or do you rehearse things before you go in, or do you like experimenting in there? I mean, how do you work that side of things?
Yeah, so we always pay for like a professional studio with an engineer when we're going to do something like that. So, and we're not rich.
Yeah,
So we make sure to do as much pre-production as possible, like getting everyone's parts cleaned up, getting the tempos right, and so that when we go in there, it can be a pretty smooth process and we can
yeah,
really focus on getting tones and things like that instead of writing parts. Like sometimes it happens a little bit, but
yeah.
yeah.
Do you police that, or is it a band thing?
Is it what?
Do you police who plays what, or is it kind of, is that everyone kind of have their own say? How does that work?
Yeah. There, I would say that I have some veto, but I have a very open mind. I like
Yeah,
people to at least have a chance to come up with their own thing, and then usually we kind of have to, as a team, kind of mold it so that it fits with everything else. So it can be kind of like a harsh editing process sometimes, but people are pretty
yeah.
good about it, you know.
Yes, you kind of know what you want from the song when you've written it. You kind of know where it's going.
Yeah, and it kind of evolves as things get added, like for sure. The energy of the song can kind of change and yeah.
Talked about touring. Is that something that you do a lot? Do you get around Canada and America? Do you ever get outside of that?
We pretty much have our we don't tour in Canada so much because there's kind of only, Montreal is the biggest music market closest to us and it's like 5 hours away. And then to go further, you kind of have to go like the cities are all so far apart between, whereas in the US we could kind of do like a couple circles like through Ohio or over to New York or Illinois. Um, More bang for the buck, like more shows. But we haven't ever done anything outside of North America yet. So, which we'd like to. We just haven't made it happen
Well,
yet.
if it does happen, you're going to stop in and just do a live session with Switchbox. So we'll book that in. We'll mark that on your card straight away.
Ah, sweet. The band's gonna be so happy.
So
Awesome.
tell me about Make It Real.
The
You
show.
did Instagram. You did an Instagram. So you did a bunch of Instagram sort of interviews with your friends, and this was a lockdown thing, I presume. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do another one this Thursday, but basically I just found that I was kind of constantly comparing myself to other musicians that I had met, and I had kind of like ideas about what I thought their lives were like, or I don't know, I don't know what advantages they may or may not have had. And I just decided that I was making a ton of assumptions about everybody. And we had the opportunity of so much time. I thought it'd be a good chance to actually get to know some of these people that I met on the road a little bit better.
It's
So
real.
make
It's
it.
really fun to. I mean, I was watching a couple of them, and it's really fun. Like just to
Oh,
have a
thanks.
chat. I mean, very much similar to sort of this, just having a chat away, and but obviously you know them, and there's little stories and little inside jokes and things. It's really endearing. I really enjoyed watching
Oh,
it.
thanks.
So
Yeah, it was
people,
really fun.
so people can catch them on your Instagram. Is that correct? Is that right? Is there any, or do they go across to other platforms?
It's just on Instagram, and unfortunately, they only the first one crossed over to Instagram TV, and I don't know, but I actually am transcribing all of them. I kind of recorded them to my phone because I kind of want to write about the whole experience. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's I don't really have plans for them going forward. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, so otherwise this would be a great time to advertise that.
So stay tuned for the thing we don't quite know yet, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching the one I was watching, and you guys were sort of talking. It was really. I thought it was really a really nice, really relaxed, kind of fun way to get to know people, and obviously for people to discover new music. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what we're trying to do with this. Is what I'm loving is taking a deep dive into your stuff, which I may not have got a chance to really have excuse to do, as intensely as I have for the last little while. So it's been great. So you did a virtual festival, Love Fest,
Oh yeah.
um,
Yep.
and so is the live streaming thing that's something that you've done? And tell us a little bit about that Love Fest back in June.
Yeah. So we've played that festival for a couple of years, and it's a really sweet, just small town festival, very kind of hippie themed, like lots of tie dye and stuff like that. The organizer is this wonderful young woman named Leah, and her parents would always have us back for like a huge Italian spread of snacks afterwards. It was just like a really nice, um, down to earth kind of thing. And she wanted to involve us again. So we figured out how to use like OBS to like cross broadcast to Facebook and Zoom, and
Yeah.
it was quite a learning experience. Yeah.
I've been
And
doing the same thing. I've kind of upgraded from just going live on the phone to kind of using all this technology, and it's you can do a lot with basically free platforms. Is that something that you really enjoy doing?
it's all right. I mean, I kind of enjoy watching the comments section. I really appreciate good commenters.
That's the sort of distraction of the comments, and you forget what lyrics you're on and what song you're doing.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's just nice to feel like there's an audience, and it's kind of cool that they can come in from anywhere. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I wouldn't choose it over performing live. But it's kind
No,
of nice, like being done and just being able to get in my pajamas.
Well, I don't think it's. I think for some people, it's not quite ticking that live music box. Really, I don't think it's ever gonna replace it. But it's kind of the nearest that we have. So we're trying to make it the best we can, and I think some people appreciate that. And if people are putting it on their on the TVs and stuff, you can get all through a big system, music system. You can get a fairly decent kind of version of a live gig. But
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. You kind of at the mercy of how people are watching it. I suppose it's not as good if they're watching on a phone, and that's one of the sort of downsides. You can't control how people watch it, but it's a much better experience if they can watch it on a TV or something.
Yeah, and that's when it gets to be quite worth using something like OBS, where you can incorporate your microphones and stuff like that into it.
Yeah, get more of a gig, more of an authentic sort of gig feel to it. Yeah, yeah. But it's great. I always love seeing that people talking with each other, and you sort of realise that you just kind of started a party and you're the background noise.
Yeah.
Your friends are on chatting to each other.
Yeah, I love seeing my friends comment to each other. It's awesome.
Switchbox. You had a single out in 2019, Sweet Tea. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, was there were there more songs to go with that, or was it just do the standalone song?
It is on our forthcoming album. I think that we were hoping that there wouldn't be quite so much time between the release of the single and the release of the album, so we'll be doing another single or two for sure. Yeah, we recorded it at the same time as maybe like 3 other songs, and we just thought that it was pretty great. And we were about to go on our first tour to the West Coast, and we wanted to have something released that we could be promoting and, hopefully enticing people to come out with.
Yeah, it was a great song. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. It's like, I kind of thought that it was going to get us a little bit more traction, but maybe it will when it's part of a full album, but I don't know.
Is it indicative of the kind of sound, the kind of the rest of the album? Is it kind of a representative of that stuff?
In some ways, the new album is kind of a collection of songs that kind of paint like a journey through kind of my process of learning about myself and coming to terms with some things that I hadn't quite been aware of. I kind of think of it as like the hero's journey. So the songs don't necessarily all sound the same. Like that one is probably the most kind of indie folk pop one. They kind of veer towards more folky on one side and then more rocky on another side, and that one's kind of like the middle.
Well, I think that's one of the things I've noticed about you guys is that you do sort of occupy those two spaces so effortlessly that it kind of is very natural, sort of, that you kind of swing from more rocky sound to a more folky sound. It really works.
Sweet. I'm glad you think so, because there's a lot of that.
Well, I look forward to the album. I'm definitely going to check that out. So I know you were sort of saying there's no sort of set plans going forward, but do you have an outline of what you'd like to do when you're allowed?
Yeah. Well, I would like to. It's almost like trying to come up with a wish list on the spot. Okay. Well, I mean, we're kind of just going forward with our plan of assembling a team for the record release. Kind of the only thing missing is going to be touring it. So, I mean, Yeah, that would be
I
on
mean,
the wish list for sure.
do you work with a label or do you self-release? How do you do that?
Um, we just kind of have our own shell label that we use for distribution. It's just us though. Yeah, so we self-release, so it's all based on finding a good publicist and usually touring, word of mouth, which will be lacking on this run, probably.
Yeah, yeah, that's the downside. But I suppose you could, if you sort of expand that to make it real, kind of model where you sort of chatting to people, that could work as a kind of a thing, to kind of a promotional thing. It'd be good. I'd like to hear the stories behind the songs and how they got, and the story of how it got made. I think that'd be something really interesting to see, because it sounds like you guys have there's a lot of the process sounds like it's a really interesting process for how you guys go about things. I'd
Yeah, I'll
like to
have to
hear
find
that.
all my making of stuff. Yeah. But oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe I could make a point of going on Instagram Live kind of every Thursday, no matter what. Maybe I'll have a guest sometimes, maybe I won't. That could be
That's
cool.
This is the recommendation part of the show.
Sweet, thank you.
So, so this is it's the need to know music show. So, who is a band that you know that people need to know?
Oh, I thought like where you recommend to me how to release an
This is what
album
you
during
need to
COVID.
do. Yeah.
Because you already
No,
gave
this
me your
next.
recommendation and it was good. Um, Wow. I mean, I have really been enjoying listening to this woman. She's Haitian American named Natalie Joachim. She's a flautist. She studied at Juilliard, and she graduated all of this classical training, but then decided that what she wanted to do with it was to reimagine Haitian folk songs. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, I've been listening to her a lot. And then I've been listening to someone who's not, well, I've been listening to The War on Drugs and Big Thief kind of all the time. But one of my favorite bands that we get to tour with sometimes is a band named Soften, and they're from
Okay.
Cincinnati. I really love them.
Well, we'll put links to all this stuff so people can go and check this stuff out, and then obviously links to your stuff so people can go and check you out. And we'd like to just thank you for coming on, and like to sort of wish you luck with everything you're doing. It sounds like it's like, you know, when you sounds like you guys really belong on the stage and live and touring, and I really hope that you can get back to that as soon as possible.
Thanks. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And okay, guys, check out Beams and the new album. What's the new album going to be called? Do you have a name for it?
It's called Ego Death.
Ego Death.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we'll look forward to hearing that. If the first single has anything to go by, it's going to be a very exciting thing to witness it appear in front of us. So thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anna. Cheers.
Okay, bye.